It is day one of tampering in the NFL free agent period, and the Kansas City Chiefs already made a major splash. And they may not be done adding to this offensive line. But before we do dive into all of that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, as I'm going to keep you updated on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's have some fun. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Coming into today to start the NFL free agency tampering period, I was pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs weren't going to do nothing. It was going to be quiet. At best, what I was going to be hopeful for was that we were going to get a Chris Jones extension to where we lock him down for the rest of his Kansas City Chief career, and we also open up more cap space. That hasn't been the case as of yet, but the Kansas City Chiefs did make a major move on the offensive line. And I'm kind of proud of myself because I did mention this in some of my dream scenarios on that I would like the Kansas City Chiefs to sign Juwan Taylor. Well, that has come to fruition today as they signed him to a 4-year deal worth $80 million, $60 million guaranteed. I hope I got those contract numbers correct. If not, I will place them on the screen. That way you guys get it visualized of everything. And initially coming to me, I was like, whoa, that actually happened. Because one of my main focus points coming into this free agency was we know there's going to be a hole on the left tackle position and on the right tackle position. And then that hole opened up even more with Andrew Wiley news being announced that he was signing with the Washington Commanders literally 5 minutes before Juwan Taylor signed. And everyone's like, oh, now Kansas City really does have a hole at the right tackle position. And then they signed Juwan Taylor and you think, wow, they solidified the right tackle right away. And maybe now they move forward and they try to address the left tackle position in the draft and see how they proceed. Well, that may not be the case, and it seems like coming from reports from James Palmer and multiple sources coming out of Kansas City saying that Juwan Taylor may in fact move to the left tackle position. And that opens up everyone's eyes, because now that means, well, Orlando Brown Jr.'s career is officially done as a Kansas City Chief, and also it raised major eyebrows and question marks has Juwan Taylor ever played left tackle, and can he play left tackle? Because when you see the initial contract, you're like, woo, that makes him the richest right tackle ever in the NFL. But now that you see he may transition to the left tackle position, $20 million a year seems quite about nice for a left tackle. It's just like I mentioned, the question is going to be, can he play that position? Now, I'm going to keep it real with you guys here too. I do not know too much about left tackle position or even any offensive line position when it comes to stat-wise, like how many sacks they allow, pressures. I do focus on it, but if you were to tell me what is a good average on low to basically to bad, I couldn't tell you that. But looking at some of the rates that Juwan Taylor has done on the right tackle position, it is very, very promising. And also, another upgrade over Orlando Brown is his pass pro block game is way better than Orlando Brown too. Again, we'd have to see how it looks like on the left tackle side for him. But if I'm going to believe in anyone, it would be Juwan Taylor. And for the fact is, Andy Reid believes in Andy Heck. And he did this with Orlando Brown Jr. Yes, he played left tackle as a Baltimore Raven, but he kind of solidified Orlando Brown to say, hey, he can be a left tackle in this league. May it be the prettiest? No. But the transformation did happen. And also, Juwan Taylor is more of a physical beast than Orlando Brown Jr. I'm not trying to slight Orlando Brown by any means necessary, but if you look at Juwan Taylor's, I've seen some highlights or some tape. If you look at that, he pops off. He's explosive. He's fast. He's big. He's lengthy. And it's something that may transition well to a left tackle need. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Now, that's where Chiefs Kingdom comes 50-50 with it, because if you're going to solidify him as right tackle, everybody in Chiefs Kingdom would have loved it. They may have questioned you on the price mark, but when it comes free agency time, sometimes you got to overpay to solidify that line and to protect the face of your franchise. But now that it's him transitioning to left tackle, it's like, okay, can he play that? And you go back and you look at stats and you look back at his career, and he's actually never played left tackle. I think he played slightly in high school, but in college, nothing. In the NFL, nothing. And basically barely anything in high school too. So Brett Veach is taking a major bet on this if that is the move to transition him to left tackle. But also, we preach during off season during NFL draft. In Veach we trust. If Veach believes that's the move that Andy Reid and Andy Heck can make him be one of the best left tackles in the league, I'm for it. And also, too, another positive with Juwan Taylor, again, we're going to focus on right tackle side, is his pressure rate is very, very low. Actually, it's one of the best in the league. It's top 5. Just imagine. Maybe year 1 can be a little rough, but I don't think it could be anything crazy to say he can give you Orlando Brown Jr. production in year 1, if not better. Because we've seen a back-to-back year with Orlando Brown Jr. is he's come in late, and then he doesn't look like himself until it's like after week 8. And that's something the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to deal with, where, okay, we need a jump start at the left tackle position, we need to help, and we need to make sure Mahomes is upright. We need someone who's ready from week 1 to week 17, and that's what they're banking on with Juwan Taylor. Will there be a learning curve? Yeah, there will be. But I believe if Juwan Taylor is your left tackle, he's already been practicing. He's been doing that way before the Kansas City Chiefs signed him. He's probably wanted this to happen. A lot of right tackles want to be left tackles in this league because they want that big bang money. And Juwan Taylor was able to get that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that really does solidify that. Because also, going back to what Brett Veach mentioned too, was it's not that the Kansas City Chiefs didn't want Orlando Brown Jr. They wanted to have someone long-term at their left tackle position, so they're not doing this year in and year out. And that seemed to be the case with Orlando Brown Jr. was they were always in contract negotiations, and it seemed like Orlando Brown valued himself way higher than what the Kansas City Chiefs did. And give Brett Veach his kudos because he stuck to his ground, and you should definitely, if you ask me, or if you probably ask anyone, Orlando Brown Jr. is not supposed to be paid, and that sounds harsh, top 5 tackle money in this league, and that's what he's commanding. He wants to be paid more than Trent Williams, and I think it's showing right now that he hasn't even signed with any team, and maybe reality is starting to set in. Yeah, it's only day 1. Sometimes these bigger names tend to fall off, but if you're a premier left tackle, and we've seen it with Trent Williams, like, it did take a couple days, but man, you heard it was the Niners and Chiefs going back and forth, and then that contract was ridiculous. Right now, I don't really hear any suitors for Orlando Brown Jr., which is starting to really think is our team's questioning if I was on LeBron. I try to combine left tackle and Orlando, but are they really questioning if Orlando Brown Jr. is a left tackle or if they would prefer him as a right tackle? And that would be a huge reality check for Orlando Brown Jr. So it's either you got to kind of adjust your value and move on from there because a lot of teams may not be interested in you moving forward. It'll be interesting to see where teams view Orlando Brown Jr. in this free agency. I still got my eyes peeled on him, even if he's not going to be a Kansas City Chief, because I do want to see what that contract comes to. I want to see if someone overpays him, or I want to see, hey, maybe he had to set his bar a little lower. But Juwan Taylor, I'm so happy he's a Kansas City Chief. As I mentioned, I thought he was going to be a right tackle for us, but even at left tackle, the dude looks like an athletic freak, and if anyone can get him to be an excellent left tackle in this league, I believe Andy Reid will get him ready and will be basically Mahomes' blindside blocker for the better half of 4 to 5 years. Now, as you guys heard me talking about Juwan Taylor, I didn't really solidify him in that left tackle position. And this free agency is just so wild. So coming into last night and into today, there have been major speculations and rumors coming out that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans may be working out a deal to trade Laramie Tunsil to the Chiefs. And even after the deal with Juwan Taylor, Bleacher Report is still sticking to their guns saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to work out a trade. What? What? Yeah, then Laramie Tunsil is definitely your left tackle. And then you got Juwan Taylor as your right tackle. Will that be rich? Yeah, that will be rich. But if somehow, some way, I don't even know how to say it, but if the free agency gods give Patrick Mahomes an offensive line of Laramie Tunsil, Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Juwan Taylor, literally Patrick Mahomes would have a year to throw the ball. And that's absurd. I would prefer that over anything I have mentioned this offseason. We mentioned big trades this offseason, whether it be one of these big name wide receivers. I've even mentioned guys like a Laramie Tunsil recently, or even a Ronnie Stanley if we did have that hole at left tackle if Orlando Brown left. Now this could be a serious thing, but it's even more serious that the Kansas City Chiefs have a right tackle or left tackle, depending on how we move forward with Juwan Taylor. I just find it so fascinating because I literally thought once you got the report saying that Juwan Taylor is moving to left tackle, now you have some speculation. I kind of just want someone out of the Chiefs media or even Juwan Taylor to come out and say, oh no, I'm playing left tackle. Or Coach Reed saying, yeah, we will have him play left tackle to close those rumors off. But until then, it's going to be very, very heavy that all Chiefs Kingdom is going to be believing in it. And it also doesn't help that Laramie Tunsil basically retweeted and liked Juwan Taylor's Welcome to Chiefs Kingdom. Yeah, it's not much, but also you got to kind of look into it too because he wasn't liking everyone else who was saying, oh, I got signed here, or all these new reports. He focused in on Juwan Taylor. So it's like, what are we doing here? It would be a magnificent move. It really would. How likely is it? I really don't know. Like, honestly, I'm not trying to get my hopes up high. So I'm going to say it's not likely, but you never know nowadays what can happen in this NFL and what Brett Veach might be cooking up to. Because also, if you look at Juwan Taylor's deal, the first year is a little less than $6 million. So the Kansas City Chiefs can easily be players in another big name player, whether that be Laramie Tunsil, whether that be a DeAndre Hopkins trade, whether that be someone has mentioned now Zadarius Smith. He could be cut too. Kansas City could still be players in all these guys. And they haven't even extended Chris Jones yet. And who knows when that may happen. Hopefully tomorrow, because I want that dude under contract more than I want to open up cap space, because he definitely deserves to be a Kansas City Chief for life. But just visualizing that kind of line. I don't care what wide receivers Patrick Mahomes has. If you give him all day, one of them have to get open. So it's like Sky Moore can become elite. Kadarius Toney can become elite. MVS can become really, really elite. You give any quarterback that type of time, someone's going to get open, and you don't need a top 5 wide receiver. And to really kind of solidify it, Patrick Mahomes doesn't need a top 5 wide receiver. But if you basically give Patrick Mahomes the 0-3 Kansas City Chiefs O-line, that's an unstoppable offensive unit, and it's not even fair. You might even say it's a beautiful thing for Pacheco, because if you literally look at it like the 0-3 offensive line, not saying that Andy Reid runs a similar offense like did for Mill, but man, you could be running down people's throats. You should be doing it anyways because that interior is just a beast. But man, Pacheco could be in for a hell of a season next year if you get a guy like Laramie Tunsil. Even though Laramie Tunsil and Juwan Taylor, they're pass pro type of guys, that's kind of what you want your tackles to be. In my preference, I would love my tackles to be pass pro, make sure no one is coming after them, and then your 3 interior guys, we gonna bully you and we gonna get after you. And that's where they excel, is in run or even in pass block. They're very, very good there. I am just imagining on how amazing that line can be. But right now, we gotta kind of stick to reality, so I'm gonna stick to what we have, and it is Juwan Taylor. Looks like he's slated to be the left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. So Chiefs Kingdom, how are you feeling about that? Do you think that would be a good transition? Do you think it'll be a struggle? Maybe I should end the video with this type of question. Do you think Juwan Taylor can be better than Orlando Brown Jr. as a Kansas City Chief? With that, I will close this out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I'm checking out. Y'all take care.